Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Lone Star State. We are in Texas tonight for the Everything Simulated Longhorn 400. Yes, we are getting ready for some fantastic action here at the Texas Motor Speedway. I'm, as ever, Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you up here in the booth, joined by Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, mate? Yeah, that's it. It's going to be a tricky old one. Texas can really come and bite people. It's one of those tracks that absolutely can cause a bit of an issue for some drivers. And the walls here close in so very quickly. You will find yourself very easily getting up into the wall, especially when you got the track temperatures of 40, well, just shy of 40 degrees Celsius, 39 degrees Celsius, 22 degrees air temperature. That is going to really cause a little bit of mischief on these tyres tonight. Overheating is going to be a main issue for these drivers and something they're going to have to look at just managing a little bit in their long runs. Absolutely, and makes our job a little bit easier to tell the cars apart. But great to see another rookie victor of the Anzac round at Talladega. A fantastic result for Tom Williams, and definitely a confidence booster as well as a nice little reward to get them into the playoffs, of course. You might be muted, Mark.
Sorry, my mistake there. Just a bit of a technical issue there.
There we go. So we should be able to hear Mark again. So, how you going, mate? There we go.
Yeah, good now that I've got a voice. But is it a good thing for our viewers? I don't know. Technical issues. Got to love them. Adam Ariel on screen at the moment. Yeah, out there for qualifying. So let's see how he goes. A bit of a different paint scheme tonight for him.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a chance for some good points hauls tonight. We've got 19 cars on track at the moment, and plenty of fast drivers around here at Texas too. On this, a very important day for us nerds and geeks, of course. It is, of course, May the 4th, and the wonderful May the 4th be with you, Mark, and hopefully. We will see some great racing out there. Everybody will be extra careful and not pulling down the blast shield and just going off of faith.
Yeah, definitely right. No, we're starting to see now the times come in. Jeremy Sumter, our American, one of our American drivers, are fastest at the moment. And as I say that, Nick Bottrell jumps to the top of the Christmas tree with a 29.5. So some really good times starting to come in as we watch. Yes, oh, that's not the quick way around here.
That is not how you want to do it. That is one of the perils of Texas, the back end stepping out on you, especially as you get on the power as well. Very easy to have that rear over rotate and all of a sudden try and overtake you.
Matthew, forgive me, this is a new driver in tonight. Another one of our Americans supporting the Inside Lane production team tonight. So we've got a few guys here. Let's see if they can make a bit of a difference and get up there at the front.
Absolutely, and look, it'll be good to see how Matthew Cisner does out there, and we'll see if we can actually pronounce his name right. At one point in the race, Mark, I'm sure, given that the multiple attempts we'll have, we'll get it right once at least.
Yeah, definitely. And Ryan Jones there sitting in second place at the moment with a 29.2. So very good. Just about all the field down to P13 is in the 29s, and then we jump into the 30s. So that might be it for qualifying at the moment.
Yeah, we'll wait for that.
Hear a car out there.
Here
we are. Mark Smith in the 07 Lucas Oils machine. Didn't have a real good race last week. Got mixed up in an incident, and that seen him down the field a little, but came back very, very strongly and got into the top 15 in the end of last week's Anzac race.
Yeah, absolutely, and look, it's going to be another night of just getting the car home tonight. Of course, Texas can be one of those tracks where you can sometimes find yourself coming a cropper, and the cautions can come out and really spoil the old race as well. But if you're careful and you time everything right, you could absolutely find yourself in a good position. And of course, it's going to be depending on how everybody's got the car set up tonight as well. That sort of heat change as we go through the daytime and into the evening and stuff like that, that could definitely come into play here. It is a long old race, and those temperatures are going to change a bit as that race goes on.
Yeah, definitely like Carl. Definitely something to keep an eye on as we now get the guys into starting the grid up for us. So let's see how we go there. There you are. There's that new paint scheme for Jamie Nankervis and Norman Clark. A nice bright green car there, Carl.
Absolutely, and a nice easy one to spot. So let's run through the starting grid tonight, and it's Jeremy Sumter taking pole position here tonight ahead of Ryan Jones on row number 1. Row 2, we got Carl Needler and Matthew Cisner. Then we have Stevie Williams and Mr. Andrew Dyson. Nick Bottrell and Luke Yeager make up row number 4. Row number 5, we've got Jamie Nankervis and Adam Ariel. Row number 6 is Scott Lefebvre and Wayne Van Billion. Row number 7, we've got Tom Williams and Phil Butler. On row number 8, it's Norman Clark with Peter Gretton. On the 9th row, it's Mark Smith with Justin Allen. And rounding out the field tonight is Derek Jacobs in the 27. And a decent field here tonight. Quite a lot of very fast pedalers out here. And going to be interesting to see how Sumter does in his first race here. Going to be interesting to see how this one goes as the race unfolds.
Yeah, actually, Carl, you missed last week. Jeremy actually did make a start last week in the Anzac Cup. But unfortunately, he made a real big boo-boo coming into the pit lane for one of his pit stops while he was leading, and got a hold, stop and go. So that cost him his race, and then he got mixed up in something a little bit later on in the race, and that ended up seeing him bring the car behind the pit wall.
Yeah, hopefully won't have the same issue tonight. Will be good to see if we can. Be good to see if we can get some good racing out there tonight, as we see everybody getting ready to line up and getting ready for the grid.
Long old race tonight, 267 laps. So be looking at people just settling down and getting in, settled in for a nice long race.
And we will get that one going, and the pace car gets ready for this one, and we will be getting ready for the green flag here for 267 laps. It is going to be a absolute great race out here. Let us see how it goes as the green flag is about to drop and we get ready for tonight's race. And Sumter off to a absolutely electric start with that one, pulling out a fairly healthy gap over Ryan Jones already in this early stage. But well, we always say you've got to be careful pulling out a gap this in the early stages of the race. Sometimes you can just be going a little bit too hard, too fast, and that can come back to bite you latterly in the stint, of course. But at the moment is flying out there. Carl Needler as well got some really good early pace with Matthew Sisner as well. So we are getting quite a few cars moving their way up. But what we usually see with DPR, they tend to hold back a little bit in the early stages. And then latterly in the run, that's when they start to come back. And that long run pace is usually their strongest suit.
Yeah, definitely right. And you can see the three DPR guys there joined up together. Jones, Williams and Dyson. So keep an eye on those. As you said, Carl, they are normally a quick car. Then we got the first of the valve cars there in Nick Bottrell, Jamie Nankervis, and then the one of our Kiwi drivers, Luke Jager, there, Adam Ariel, and round out the top 10. So we'll head back up to the front and keep an eye on here. Nice and settled. But Sumter has really got a nice little gap, just over a second now.
I was just watching back with Ryan Jones, and he's just had a little moment going through 3 and 4. The back end just breaking a little bit loose on him in this stage of the race. It was just a little tiny blink of that rear end just breaking away from him, and that's just saying that the heat is definitely there as Jones collects the apron and almost gets spat up into the wall on the exit of turn 4. He has had a very rough couple of laps here, especially going through 3 and 4, just taking it to the extremes, and that back end is not looking settled at the moment. That car just struggling for the rear and just being a little bit of a handful.
Yeah, well, Jones is coming off a win last week with the Anscar League at Dover, I believe it was, by memory, Carl. So he'll be definitely looking to continue his form over here tonight with the Aussie Outlaws. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Stevie Williams is there as always, and unfortunately, forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, if I get this car wrong, because I'm not used to seeing him with this paint scheme on. Our friendly Mr. Dyson.
Absolutely, a little bit of May 4th action on the nose of that car tonight, celebrating International Star Wars Day. So nice to see that out there. But yeah, it is one of those things where you quickly glance and you just go, "Wait, that's the wrong color car. That's not looking right."
No, definitely right. We'll just check out the Nick Bottrell. He's a quick driver, but unfortunately he's just been mixed up in a few little incidents this season. He'll be looking to have another great race tonight. And as I said, new paint scheme there for Jamie Nankervis, the team boss, looking to put that thing onto the podium tonight.
Absolutely. As we keep an eye on everything, we'll bring up the timing screens up for you very shortly as well. Get an idea of how the race is setting out for everybody. And at the moment, Sumter taking a 1.75 lead over Carl Needler. So those two absolutely breaking free at the moment. Needler's got a good little gap over Matthew Cisner as well. So it's broken out at the front a little bit. They're running away a little bit from the rest of the pack. Ryan Jones sticking to the back of Cisner as he just gets a little wiggle going through turn 3 and 4, and this is going to give Jones the run through the quad oval as he goes down the inside. Cisner tries to block him off but doesn't have the speed to get down there in time, and that's given Ryan Jones the corner, and he's going to slide his way up in front. Can he get the overlap? No, he can't. They just get there. Really close racing there, and Ryan Jones will now slot himself in front of the number 4, moving himself up a spot. That was just from a little tiny snap on the exit and just lost that momentum, just a tiny bit of momentum loss. Very, very painful on a track like Texas.
Yeah, definitely right. It's not something you want to have snap on you around here.
Usually when it snaps going through turn number 4, you end up with a rather hefty repair bill and a rather injured car as it finds its way up into that safer barrier and then finds itself missing half of the front end. So good job from everybody keeping the car in contact with the road, keeping it away from the walls, because it is so easy to make that little mistake. As we've got Phil Butler pulling it into the pits right now, and I'm not seeing anything major there. So
it's just come. Looks like he may have just disappeared.
Yeah, maybe some connection issues for Phil Butler, unfortunately. That is a shame. So maybe just pulling it in if he's having a few connectivity issues rather than leaving it out on track and causing some mischief. Maybe just pulling it in here and keeping himself out of trouble. But at the moment, we have a Toyota in the lead mark where it should be. And Toyota leading a Mustang, you know, as life should be, leading one of those GM cars.
Yeah, well, Jeremy Sumter, he's running for Kobe Jordan, and Kobe's team has always been a Toyota. So the Toyota ranks have swollen a little bit since these boys come in. And Carl Needler there having a good run. As usual, a good race and out front early.
Absolutely, and look, one of those drivers that has been knocking on victory lane a lot, Carl Needler, and really has got some really good pace in that car once more, keeping the gap to about 1.8 seconds to the leader right now, but extending a little bit over Ryan Jones. So they're sort of sitting in a decent spot at the moment. There's a fairly decent gap back to Stevie Dubbin and Andrew Dyson. And then we have a whole gaggle of Valve Esports cars. Bottrell, Nankervis, Jaeger. Nankervis. Then we have Luke Jaeger sitting just in the middle of that pack with Scott Lefevre just behind him. So they're sort of moving along nicely at the moment. And just making their way to getting their getting warmed up for the race, you got to say. And we've not had any early cautions. That's going to make everybody pretty happy, and they can just get their legs stretched now. And this is the point where you really get to work out what your car is and is not doing. And what a lot of these cars are doing are losing the rear end. The rear end of these things not sticking to the track too well. There's definitely a lot of struggle going on out there.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it definitely looks like we've lost Philip Butler from the race. So unfortunately for him, his night's over early, but he will still get points from this round.
Yeah, managing to get the car out at least. It's at least that is part of the thing, and it looks like some kind of connectivity issue for Butler, which is always a shame. It's the closest thing you get in sim racing, at least with iRacing, for mechanical failures, of course. And when your internet connection craps out, you are very much looking at the sort of closest thing to a mechanical failure. And it's a bit like having the engine blow or something like that. But luckily, it doesn't leave a big smear of oil all across the track for everybody else to struggle on. Meanwhile, Carl Needler is losing time. I think he's had a bit of a moment with the rear of the car, and he's had a big slide going through the corner, and that's going to really heat up those rears and give Ryan Jones the opportunity to dart down the inside in the 11. And Ryan Jones, on a absolute tear at the moment, has been driving magnificently recently. He moves himself up into second place, holds the slide through the corner. That was expertly done. That was looking a little bit sketchy for a couple of moments as the back end was wanting to break itself free. But you can see from this camera angle, just watch the rear of the cars. They are absolutely stepping out on these guys. The car is getting very, very loose at the rear, and it is just wanting to swing around on them. Definitely some heat soak going into the tyres with these very high track temperatures, and that is causing a lot of stress. Only 22 laps into this race.
There shouldn't be any problem with tyres though tonight, Carl. They've got a starting +8, so plenty of tyres at their hands if they wish to use them. I'm just trying to double check our fuel burn.
That will be the big factor of the race, and that's going to be the thing that's going to determine it. But you might see tyre wear might not be the bigger issue here tonight. It might just be that heat coming in to play, at least in the short runs. So we might see some people just staying out there if we get a couple of cautions in quick succession, just staying out there, letting the tyres cool down a little bit and trying to carry on if they haven't got too much wear going through. So it's going to be interesting to see what people decide to do in this race, what little options they pull out. But at the moment, it is Jeremy Sumpter up in the lead, absolutely loving it here at Texas, still setting some very good lap times, has the fastest lap of the race at the moment, and the American driver is absolutely storming his way through Texas at the moment and having a grand old time. Just jumping down, looking at Mark Smith, who's had a bit of a moment as well. The back end of that Lucas Oil's car, the Pluckers Racecraft car, is really not looking like it is behaving at the moment. That thing is really struggling to get the power down, and you can see there it is really wild on the exit as well. As soon as he gets his foot on the accelerator, it is breaking free from him. The back end is spinning up a little bit, and a big moment again as he just saves it there. Not too easy to see it from that camera angle, but the whole car was going sideways. He had to slam on the brakes a little bit and save that one from a proper job of a slide. And unfortunately, we've lost Peter Gretton from the race as well. Just looking back, looks like he's pulled the car in for tonight. And no obvious reason for that one. But we have lost 2 cars from the pack. We still have 17 remaining at the moment. It's Derek Jacobs down in 17th position, closing in on Justin Allen. So plenty of battles going on through the track as everybody works their way to the first set of pit stops. That's going to be the big factor in this one. And if we get some green flag stops here tonight, Mark, that could absolutely throw things up as we see Carl Needler getting passed by Stevie Dubb out on track. And Needler just starting to struggle now. Maybe went a little bit too hard, too early.
Yeah, definitely right. This is really going to throw some things, spanners in the works. If these guys if we stay green all the way, we'll definitely see some green stops. And we can see now Dyson all over the back of Needler as he gets loose a little bit there through turns 4.
And what did we say about the DPR cars? Watch out for them in the latter stages of the stint when the long run pace starts to kick in. We've seen it sometimes with Carl Needler just starting to struggle a little bit in the long run pace. It has absolutely stunning short run pace, but it's the long run that just starts to cause a little bit of trouble. And when you get some long green flag stints like this, short run pace is not something you need. You want to have the car working well over the long run and performing for you the best it can once you get about 20 odd laps into a stint. So definitely just struggling a little bit at the moment. But one man that is not struggling is Jeremy Sumter. He's just caught up to the back of the field right here and is just getting past Justin Allen and Derek Jacobs. So flying his way through the pack and moving himself forwards and up some positions right now.
Yeah, just a little note about Justin Allen. He's a rookie this year. It's good to see him out there rotating and just keep getting points slowly but surely. He's getting quicker and quicker every week that he's out there, and it's good to see the VSK team take him on board and take him under the wing. Most of those guys are from across the ditch, our friendly New Zealanders. So it's good to see him out there running each week and sticking at it.
Absolutely, and the best way to improve is getting seat time, and it is something that is really useful as a rookie. You can do as much practice as you want on a test track and things like that, but it never really prepares you for what it's like in a race. And when you get those races under your belt, you will improve. It might not come instantly, but it does come forwards. So it's always important. And a track like Texas is a place that can really catch out some rookie drivers, because you do tend to burn up the front right here quite easily, and that's protecting the tyres is a skill that is not easy to do. It's something that even the fastest drivers sometimes struggle with in oval racing. It's definitely not one of the easier skills to learn. But once you start to get used to it, once you start to learn how to get these cars working and learn how to get the car turned in, learn just how much steering angle you need, and sometimes just how much lift off you need, how much dab of the brake you need, it really comes quick. And once you get that knowledge under your belt, you can save a huge amount of tyre, and it really does make the race come to you as it goes on. But it is definitely something that is a learning experience, and one of those things you can only really learn by racing, really. And luckily, having some good teammates around you will help make that learning transition just become a little bit quicker and a little bit less painful, as they'll be able to give you the tips and the tricks needed, rather than you just having to try and learn it all yourself.
Yeah, definitely right. And we can see here Jones still there, just in front of Matthew by half a second now. Stevie Williams there in fourth position, a further second back behind our American driver, and Dyson closing in to round out the top five in the race at the moment.
Yeah, we're still seeing some good pace out there. It's dropped from the 29.5s to the 30.8s now. So we are dropping down in the pace. Andrew Dyson just did a 30.6, so about a second and a bit drop off now in pace for all of these drivers, and that's that tyre wear starting to kick in. I have just seen it as well. Peter Gretton, he had a little bit of a tussle with the wall, unfortunately, and that saw him pulling out of tonight's race after giving the wall a little bit of love. And it didn't end too well for him, as we see Dyson and Stevie Dubb just swapping positions there. Won't be fighting each other too hard, but they won't be making it absolutely easy. It won't be a orchestrated swap over. It will just be I'm not going to make it too hard for you. If you can get past, do it situation. And Stevie Dubb's just going to be sitting there and just mooching along, but Andrew Dyson definitely getting some pace now. He is the fastest car on track at the moment by some margin, about a couple of tenths faster than the leader at the moment. Ryan Jones as well, he's getting a bit of a wiggle on as well. He's brought down the gap to 3.3 seconds. So the DPR car is starting to come alive in this latter half of the stint, where everybody else's tyres are starting to really fall off the cliff. Their tyres and their conservation into this race is starting to pay off, as they're able to just keep up with the lap time, whereas everybody else is starting to fall back.
Right on board here with Stevie Williams for a couple of laps.
And as we jump back and look, getting a bit of a picture from inside the car, you can see just how little steering angle's going into the number 41 at the moment of Andrew Dyson. You know, and that's all about that tyre conservation, just turning in really early, getting the turn done before putting the power on the exit, and using the accelerator just to steer the car, as we see Dyson going down the inside of Cisner right now and making the move up into third position. So we're starting to see these cars come alive in this latter stage of the run, and Ryan Jones is closing in on the leader as well. So we've got a race on our hands. We'll keep our eyes on Dyson, I'd say, at the moment, because he's still battling it out, as Cisner is just keeping himself up there, but he's really running that high line, and he just loses the position finally to Andrew Dyson, who is now on a bit of a charge and working his way up towards the front. The two fastest cars on tracks, the only two that are in the 30.7s, are the DPRs of Jonesy and Dyson. So these two are starting to close the gap, starting to build up the pace, and the race is starting to heat up here as we are 46 laps in. And well, the daylight is starting to fade a little bit here, Mark, as well. We're noticing some shadows starting to drape across the track. Their long tendrils are spraying out across the corners, and when you're looking from the onboard as well, you're noticing a lot more shadow on the track than you were at the start of the race.
Yeah, as we jump on board there with Jones, you can just see those coming in the turn. Oh, Jones, he got a little bit loose there. You can see how quick he was to react on the wheel. Just the shadows really starting to come across turns 1 now. That big grandstand there on the right as we come through the little tri-oval will start to throw shadows across the track, and that will also play a little bit of a havoc with the track temperature, because it will cool down just ever so slightly more than the rest of the track that's in the sun. So we might be lucky and see these guys go under lights, but we've been lucky in the sense that the races have only been lasting around 2 hours, so we may not see the full effect of that sun disappearing behind that grandstand, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to start to see the temperatures falling a little bit, but we're not going to see full darkness take effect here tonight, I don't think, unless we have quite a few cautions coming into play. And the track temperature's already dropped a fair amount. We were up at 39 degrees at the start of the race, and it's already dropped to 32 degrees. So that is also a big change in how the track is going to react. Of course, they're laying down rubber. There's marbles out there as well. The lines start to adapt and evolve as well as they heat up. So it's all chopping and changing out there. And it's not just turning left and keeping your foot down. It is a lot of adaptation needed on this track. And at the moment, the 2 cars that are adapting well to it are the 11 and 41, as the gap to the leader is down to less than half a second now, as Ryan Jones closing in to the back of Sumpter.
You can definitely see now that car, the 022 of Sumpter, really starting to struggle in as this stint goes on, and Jones now has really closed in. Looks like he's almost ready to pounce for to take the race lead. Although I know Sumpter will be putting up a hell of a fight to keep him behind.
We'll have to see what he can do here. But Jones just looks like he's got so much more tyre on that car as he gets a huge run off of turns 1 and 2. Look at the car just launching itself out the corner, and Sumpter just sitting there unable to really do much at this stage of the race, as Ryan Jones slingshots his way past up into the lead. As we get a new leader for the first time tonight, Jeremy Sumpter leading every lap so far, as he just gets passed by Ryan Jones, moving up into first position. And now Andrew Dyson is taking a sniff down the inside of the 022, and 41 moves himself up into second. Can he get himself sliding up in front of him? He does. A nice little move there, and the 2 cars moving themselves up into first and second in this race. Now the question is, can Sumpter keep on the back here? Can he keep himself connected to these 2 cars, or will these 2 scamper off in front of him? How much can he get through this one? And well, how much more fuel is left in the old tank as well? They will be starting to get towards the magic time where they come into the pits, and Sumpter is pulling it into the lane. So Sumpter, the first of the cars into the lane, he's decided he's going to do it now and take advantage of an undercut as well. Get those fresh tyres on and get back out on track with some speed. Got into pit lane nicely. Looks like he's made it in without any penalties. So he's going to be getting a quick service of fuel and tyres, I imagine. All 4 sets will go on. The fuel will go into the car and he'll get back out on track. And now it's the question of how long is everybody else going to be sticking it out there.
And battle now for the lead. Dyson's down the outside of Jones.
So the fight is on us,
Oh,
all
they touch.
leaning on each other. Absolutely beautiful rubbing there between the two teammates. Rubbing is racing, Mark. Rubbing is racing.
It is, and we know that these guys will battle right to the checkered flag. So they're not scared of leaning on each other. We've seen in the past over at Anscar, Pearson and Dyson really lean on each other, even with them being teammates. That they are a team that frees themselves up to really race in whatever league they're running in. But it's good to see here that they are not scared to touch doors and really give each other a little bit of a curry.
Seen Cisner in as well as Van Billion and Justin Allen. So we're starting to see pit stops happening throughout the field now. So we're starting to see them coming in. The caution flag is out. Oh, it's just disastrous for those guys that have stopped, as Scott Lefevre has made a absolute meal coming into the lane with somebody else. Who was that with him?
Looks like it was Jager. I've got the replay here. So here's Scott Lefevre.
Yep, it was Luke Jaeger as well. He's sort of coming into the lane and all of a sudden found a car right in his way, and then a big lock up there, getting the car stopped and going. And he didn't cross the line, so the caution flag came out and he just got back out on track, so he didn't lose that one. So yeah, Scott Lefevre just catching the apron there, coming onto the pit road, and that has sailed the car around. And well, that is exactly what none of those guys that have come into the lane wanted to see. So Dyson, Jones, Williams, Needler, Nankervis, Bottrill, Clark and Tom Williams into the lane. They are all on the lead lap, as everybody else is now stuck a lap down. They should get the wave around here, so at least they'll get back on the lead lap, but they're going to be at a little bit of a deficit on the tyres. They're just going to be a little bit unfortunate with that caution coming out, and that's going to really hurt some of these drivers.
Yeah, definitely right. And we've just seen there, thankfully for Jones, that we are under caution because he overshot his pit by just a couple of a little bit of distance, and had to do a reverse.
Not too much lost though with that one. May have just lost a little bit of time to Dyson, but no major loss there because Stevie Dub's still behind him. Jamie Nankervis, this has paid off for him nicely, and promoted him up a few positions. Up in 4th position now, up 5 spots in the race. So this is really sort of been an unfortunate moment for a lot of drivers out here. But it does give the opportunity for a few drivers to try something a little bit different. Luke Jaeger, Mark Smith and Derek Jacobs are going to pull it into the lane. They will have had to have come in because they were about 60 laps into this stint, so they're probably just about out of fuel, unfortunately. So they can't take the wave around and get that one. A lot of cars will get the wave around here, so we will have a few more cars back on the lead lap. But that has really, really hampered Sumpter, who was having a fantastic race up till then, as well as Cisner as well. Both of those drivers making their pit stop, but they will at least get their back on the lead lap, but they will be on slightly used tyres by about 5 laps for Sumpter, about 3 laps for Cisner. So they will get up to temperature nice and quickly, but they might just find they're not quite as quick as some of those fresh boots out there. So, first caution of the night, Mark. Unfortunate with that one. Just coming into the pit lane, and look, it is an easy mistake to make on this track. That banking can really unsettle the car when you're getting onto the pit road here. And if you just get on it just a little bit awkwardly, the car will absolutely sail on round.
Yeah, definitely right. And we can see those cars now getting the wave round. So they'll come back onto the lead lap, hopefully. But we can see there in the background on that outside road, we've got Bottrell, Clark, and Williams all nose to tail. Sorry, it wasn't. It was Nankervis, Bottrell, and Co. Derek Jacobs up there now. Unfortunately, he's been caught a lap down, so we've ended up with a few cars. Mark Smith, unfortunately, been caught a lap down. So there's going to be 2 races, one for the race lead and then one for that lucky dog spot, Carl.
Absolutely. And we will see that come into effect. We've got 11 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Luke Yeager, Derek Jacobs, Lefevre, Mark Smith, Van Billion, Justin Allen, all a lap or 2 down. So pace car about to pull in. Up front, it's going to be up to Andrew Dyson to launch it away into the restart zone. He drops it down into first gear, gets the car revved up into the restart zone. He goes. When does he drop it? Drops it now. Gets away a little bit poorly there. Jones got a much better start that time. Ryan Jones absolutely got a beautiful start on the outside there and kept pace with Andrew Dyson. That's never an easy thing to do, but he absolutely nailed the dropping of the accelerator. And now they're racing off the corner, and Ryan Jones looks like he might be able to just get himself up into the lead. Can he just get the overlap? Can he get himself slotted down in front of Dyson here? And he is just about there, and he does it.
Yeah, look, we have seen Dyson struggle in the early parts of the stint with these cars. It takes him about 15 or so laps to get up to a real hard charging speed. But once he is up there, he's a hard man to keep behind you.
We had a couple of little moments throughout the pack, as well as Derek Jacobs just clipped the wall and hit Adam Ariel. Adam Ariel sailing across the grass, giving it a very good cut. Both of those cars still chugging along well, but that would have been an eye-opener for that little group of cars. And Adam Ariel, great save for this one. So this is the restart now, so we'll come through. And once we get to turn number 4, you keep an eye on that blue car, the 27, up on the high line, as he will just give the wall a little tiny clip. He just got sucked up into that safer barrier on the exit of turn 4. Just pinged him down into Adam Ariel. So look at this. He just takes a little bit narrow, loses a little bit of front aero, pings it down. Adam Ariel nowhere to go, and he ends up chugging it across the grass. But luckily, the car is pretty much unharmed. Just a little bit of dirt on there and a little bit of grass on the radiator, but other than that, looking relatively okay still.
As we go further back in the field, around 10th position, it's a real race here at the moment with our American drivers and our Kiwi / South African driver Norman Clark. We've seen him really just hang back towards the rear of the field and come on strong in the last stage of the race, and we can really now see those shadows starting to take effect through the tri-oval and into 1 and 2.
Absolutely. Some good racing going on. Carl Needler and Nick Bottrell at the moment racing it out as Jamie Nankervis managed to get past and is chugging along and moving himself up right behind at the tail of the DPR entry, the mean green machine that is Stevie Dubb. and he's got some really good early pace at the moment, Nankervis. And we're once again seeing the DPR cars not quite running away with it in the early stages of the stint, but we know they get much stronger as the race goes on. Of course, they will have been able to change a couple of little bits in the pit lane. A few people will have tweaked the tyre pressures, maybe add a little bit more bump in the suspension just to see what they can do in this race. See if they can get the car feeling a little bit more to their liking, and might have a better run as the sun starts to set, as those shadows grow long, as the track temperature starts to cool here at Texas for this, the Everything Simulated Longhorn 400.
We jump on board with Nankervis now, in behind Williams, sticking with these 3 DPR cars.
You can see now Curvis has just got a little bit more entry speed, and he is biting at the heels of Stevie Dub, but not really too many places to go at the moment. And Jamie's just trying to think of a good place to make the move if he can do it. And it almost feels like he wants to get down the inside. He's seeing what he can do. A little bit further back, we've got Jeremy Sumter, who has worked his way nicely through the field and moved himself right up behind Nick Bottrell at the moment. We know this car is fast. It's led most of the laps of this race. So the 022 is absolutely flying at the moment once more, and putting on a move, going down the inside of Bottrell, seeing if he can get himself up another spot, and he is indeed. Cisner as well, looking to try and make the move as well, as Bottrell is hung up on the high line, and seeing if he can sneak his way underneath as well. So lots of action down here in the pack, and they are racing hard to make sure the leaders don't run away from them.
Yeah, we can definitely see that these guys have really hung with the DPR cars early in the stint, and Nankervis won't put up too much of a fight this early in the race. And we see something now really on a charge. We've seen him earlier on the race start really have some great speed, and it looks like he's done that again in the early stage of part 2 of this race.
Yeah, he's able to run a really tight line here as well, running the low line and driving the car a little bit off the rear. He is really making it work at the moment, and that tight line, it just gives you so much more speed in the mid corner than the cars that are a little bit higher up. Your entry speed is so much higher. Sometimes it affects the exit speed a little bit, but if you can get the car absolutely pinged off the corner, you can make it work. It's definitely something that can work for you, and if you can get that really tight low line working, everybody else looks at it and thinks, well, I'll give it a try, and they tend to struggle with it a little bit. As Stevie Dubb's battling it out with Cisner as well, and Jamie Nankervis, and Stevie Dubb losing another position here too. So the short run pace absolutely flying once again for this group of cars. Can they keep the tyres together a little bit longer this time and stop the DPR cars coming back, as Jeremy Sumter makes a move down the inside of Ryan Jones and takes the lead of the race back? And he is going to be happy to find himself back out in front after that caution looked like it might have ruined his race. He is making these tyres work to his advantage at the moment. They may have done a couple of extra racing laps, but they are not slowing down this car at the moment.
No, definitely not. And we can see, I definitely think these guys have made an adjustment to those Toyotas. So keep an eye out. See if they can keep that pace now right throughout this stint, or they will drop off again.
Well, we're starting to see the tipping point about 25 laps into the stint.
Netcode!
Netcode, big netcode for Ryan Jones, and that spins him up into the wall. And that is going to be a heavy amount of damage there. And that, unfortunately, is a big netcode related thwack there, and one of the perils of racing online. And the question is, how much damage is done to the number 11? Looks like he got away relatively. There was a pretty hefty whack to the nose, but it was absolutely square on. That might have damaged the radiator a little bit, but no major damage to the steering arms by the look of it.
That looks reasonably okay. It's more just down the side, Carl. So let's hope that's all right. We'll go back and have another look at that.
That is the perfect example of what netcode does in a race, and that's one of the perils of racing online sometimes, and why it's always good to just give an extra couple of millimeters when you think you're safe. But that was a rather egregious netcode moment there, Mark, and you know they were absolutely giving each other plenty of space as well. There was not even pushing it there as well. It was just one of those little netcodey moments, and unfortunately for Ryan Jones, he came off worst.
Really see it here from a review. You can see there that they're giving each other plenty of room. Four car, it goes down the inside, and bang, bang. Definitely a bad netcode there, unfortunately for Jones.
Often is the case in sim racing where somebody will be like, sorry, that was netcode, and you go, yeah, I don't think so. That was definitely one of those moments where it was obvious netcode related shenanigans, unfortunately, and the dark magic that is sim racing online in the virtual world once again plays havoc with some of the leaders, unfortunately. But bad news for some, good news for others, who will be able to get hopefully be able to get their laps back and get themselves out onto the track. That will be a real tough little moment for Ryan Jones, but it doesn't look like he's got too much damage, so that's the one saving grace there. If it's still running, Ryan Jones will absolutely get that thing to the end and keep as much pace as he possibly can. The crucial thing, I think he didn't really take too much damage from the wheels, at least. So it was mainly just on the front. So hopefully we will see that car competing at pretty decent pace. So we're going to have 15 cars back on the lead lap. Luke Yeager, Mark Smith, and Wayne Van Billion all getting themselves up to the front once again, but they'll be on some slightly worn tyres, but at least they'll be back on the lead lap as they're waiting to get the wave around here, and they will see what they can do in this race. And they wouldn't be complaining too much if we get a second caution appearing relatively quickly. We'll give them the opportunity to dart into the lane, get a top up of fuel, and some fresh boots for the car as well.
And with one to go, we now see those four cars get their wave around.
So 82 laps in, we've got 185 laps remaining, and now drivers will start to think a little bit about the maths if we get some green flag running, because they can start to work out what they can do for pit stops in this race, and seeing what they can actually work out tonight for their strategies as well. At least 3 more stops. 3 more stops for this race. So they're going to be trying to work out what their optimum strategy is going to be in this latter half, and see what happens. And if we run green, we might see some good racing here tonight, and we'll see how that one rolls out. Pace car pulls in. Sumter getting ready into the restart zone. Cisner on the outside. Dyson, Clark behind them. And away they go. And a nice launch for Sumter. He gets away beautifully on the low line. Cisner just losing a little bit there. Losing position to Andrew Dyson, who is away getting away nicely. But Sumter was absolutely launching himself off there. The speed of a whippet with a bum full of dynamite, getting away there at the restart, and has built himself up a little bit of a lead already. But can he maintain that, as Andrew Dyson is now in happy hunting mode?
Yeah, that car definitely has the answer for everyone else on the race restarts. But Dyson has been able to stick with him this time. Hasn't let him get away. That Chevrolet of his is really sticking to that Toyota right now.
It's the Chevy meet in a Toyota sandwich at the moment as they come along, and he's really starting to put the pressure on already. And we've not seen this too much tonight. The DPR cars putting the pressure on in the early stages of the stint, but Dyson absolutely getting the speed out of the car almost instantaneous this time, not needing a long run up. The short run pace is looking good now for the 41. Can we see Sumter reply with some good lap times? We will find out very, very soon. Just looking through the field, and Ryan Jones setting some decent lap times as well. He's in a 29.8 at the moment, so he's got some good pace in that car too. He's not really off the pace of everybody else, so looks like that car's got away relatively scot-free with such a heavy nose on impact into the wall.
Yeah, definitely right. And just looking further back, Adam Ariel up there into the top 10. So nice running there for him tonight.
Yeah, chugging along nicely at the moment, Adam Ariel, and he'll be happy with that position. And nice to get a solid top 10 finish here tonight if it continues on, but still a long way of this race to go, and plenty of laps for things to come undone very, very quickly here tonight at Texas. And well, this track, we know it can bite you if you are not paying 100% attention. It is a place that will really come out and cause you a grief if you do not respect it. So they have got a long way to go, and still very much very easy to make a mistake in these early stages. Ryan Jones moving himself up into 6th position, just getting past Stevie Dubb. We've got Scott Lefevre on the move as well, just getting past Adam Ariel. So plenty of action on track. We're seeing some really good racing throughout the pack at the moment. Lots of people racing for position. And right up the front, I think we need to jump to Ryan Jones, because he is... Oh, that was very, very, very sketchy there. He was taking the high line and he got hung up high. All of a sudden, the car got very, very twitchy on him. He just managed to save it, but he is very much in attack mode at the moment. He is absolutely wringing every single pony out of that Chevrolet engine, and trying his best to get himself right back up to the front of this field.
Yeah, we know what Jones can do when he's got the bit between his teeth. He really gets going, and he definitely doesn't want to be back down there in sixth position at the moment, and we'll probably see some very aggressive driving. He won't be pushing or anything like that just yet. He'll just be aggressive. If we can see there, he shows the nose to Bottrell, and Bottrell quickly slots down and closes that little gap off. Jones is one that you definitely don't want to give a sniff of a gap to, because he'll stick that nose of that car in there, and he'll definitely take it, as we just see one of those valve cars touch the wall there across the strike.
Tom Williams giving the wall a little tiny rub, and he's gotten away with it relatively unharmed. Stevie Dubb now getting his way past Ryan Jones, and Stevie Dubb now getting some pace in the car as big snap for Cisner as well. He just had a little moment going through 3 and 4, and that lost him a whole heap of momentum and a couple of positions as well. He managed to save that car from absolute disaster there. So they are still very much on a knife edge, it seems. As we see Ryan Jones getting down the inside of Bottrell, and he's trying to get that position. Stevie Dubb looking to also get the run there as well, as they all tussle for position here tonight at Texas, and they are very much racing hard. And well, the hardness of the racing out there at the moment, the aggression levels, you would think there was only 20 laps to go, not 173.
Yeah, but we have seen this. We've seen these guys face off in Ant's car at the Thursday Night League, and also here, and we've really seen some hard fought battles right throughout both leagues. So Stevie Williams there having a great charge on the outside, but just decides better of it and going to pull it back down in line. Dyson now out the front, still something holding on to Dyson. Really, these top 7 cars are really battling hard. Although Jones now has just dropped off a little bit off the back of Bottrell.
Yeah, they're starting to spread out a little bit now. The 2 valve cars towards the back, Bottrell and Lefevre and Williams, just dropping off a little bit from Ryan Jones, who's himself just not quite got the early pace that he had in this stint. So it's starting to even out a little bit, and we're starting to creep towards that point where the tyres are going to start to just drop off a little bit. We're almost 17 laps into this stint now. So we are starting to get to that stage where the tyres will start to get a little bit less fun to race on. The temperature is still relatively high here tonight, but it is dropping as the race goes on, and that's just going to help reduce some of the heat in the tyres and make them a little bit less like you're driving on very, very masticated chewing gum.
And we can see now also, Carl, track temperatures come down another couple of degrees. It's now down to 31, so that's the shadows starting to come across, and we can see the cloud cover also now brought the whole track into shade.
As we see stereo moves on the screen, Sumpter making his way past Andrew Dyson. Cisner trying to make his way past Jamie Nankervis. Can't quite make the move though. Sumpter got the move done. Cisner didn't quite get there. He's just didn't quite have the momentum needed to get past Nankervis there, who was doing a good job of defending. And they are all racing pretty hard, but it is Sumpter back into the lead of this race. And gotta say that car is absolutely a rocket ship out there. That Jerry Sumpter has definitely got some great pace out there for the short to the mid range of the stint. He's got the fastest lap of the race as well, a 29.5, which is a fair amount more than everybody else out there. but he's also the fastest car on track at the moment, 30.1 compared to about a 30.2, 30.4 for the rest of the field.
Now, Cessna decides to go to the outside and try the outside move. It looks like he may get this job done this time, and he pulls it in front of Nankervis.
He's taking a bit of a look at Andrew Dyson as well, so there is lots of looking going on and lots of aggression going on. As I said, this feels more like we are on lap 260 rather than lap 102. We still have 165 laps remaining, so these guys absolutely going full throttle and racing each other as hard as you like it, as Ryan Jones looking to run around the outside of Jamie Nankervis now and work his way back up to the front a little bit. Looks like he just needed to rest those tyres a little bit, just let the car breathe for a couple of laps, and now he's going back on the attack, and he is going to be looking to move himself up into fourth position. Can he get the move done on Nankervis? He's looking close, and he drops down, aggressive drop down there from Ryan Jones in front of Nankervis to take the position away.
Just looking down the timing chain, I'd expect to see Jager, Van Buren, Smith in the pit lane very shortly. Even Justin Allen, because they've missed that last caution, and they're out there now on 40 plus lap old tyres. So we'll keep an eye out for them and see when they decide to pull down. As we see Nankervis now drop back down to 7th, so he's lost a couple of spots in this section of the race, but I know he'll be thinking about some adjustments to that car for the next round of pit stops.
The thought process is going through them and trying to work out what their best options are going to be for the Everything Simulated Longhorn 400 here on the Aussie Outlaws. We are here tonight at Checkered Flag e-streaming, and well, we're getting some great racing on track here at Texas Park, as is usually the case. This track doesn't usually fail to deliver.
Yeah, definitely right. It's good to see that even though a smaller field tonight, some great racing still to be had.
Well, as they say, you only need 2 cars to have a great race, and well, we had 19 starting this race. Unfortunately, we have lost Phil Butler, Peter Gretton, and Derek Jacobs. We have just lost from the race, so we have got a couple less cars on the track than we had previously, but we still have 16 cars in the race.
And why we've just got this standing motion at the moment. Tom Williams now in pit lane. By the looks of that,
very early.
Yeah, by the look of that, he's touched the wall. Just have a look here.
Let's see the replay here and find out what's happened to Williams, who has got a bit of damage on the right front of the car. And yeah, he's definitely had a bit of a lick somewhere. And usually when there's damage on the right front, that means you've run a little bit too wide going through turns 3 and 4. So we're heading into 3 and 4 right now. And what happens to the 22 here? Does he run up wide? Does he run up into the wall?
Ooh,
he does.
Heavy. Very heavy.
Whack there. And that, unfortunately, as well, when you've got the steering angle in there as well, when you're going up towards that wall, it usually breaks the steering arm a little bit. And that is a lengthy repair, unfortunately. And that it really is a painful thing to have happen. You sort of saw Ryan Jones earlier in the race he took a heavy lick into the wall, but he took it on the nose rather than on a sort of angled wheel. When you take it on the nose, when you take it square like that, usually the car will be a little bit better off. But if you take it side on like that, and especially if you've got the steering locked in, that will usually rip it off and cause you major issues for the race. So that might be a lengthy repair for Tom Williams tonight, from absolute heroics last time out to a night to almost forget here at Texas. So it won't be long until we see Luke Yeager, Van Bullion and Mark Smith pulling it into the lane. They are, and Justin Allen as well. They are about 54 laps into their stint. So it's starting to get a little bit light on fuel, you'd say. They will have saved a little bit under the pace car conditions, but won't be long for them to pull it into the lane. And, well, they're not far off from making it on the same amount of stops as everybody else, really. So they're sort of... They should be able to make it home with 2 more stops here. So they're sort of in a not a terrible position, you got to say. So they sort of they might be able to make this one work if we go green to the end. Meanwhile, our leader, Jeremy Sumter, up got about half a second lead over Andrew Dyson at the moment, with Matthew Cisner just behind him, and Ryan Jones tucked up there in 4th position, and Stevie Dubb in 5th. And definitely does not look like the damage has affected the speed of that number 11 here tonight, Mark.
No, it definitely hasn't. Very lucky escape there for Jones. We just see that heavy scuff down the left-hand side across the door. So very, very lucky for Jones. But again, he'll be looking, definitely wanting to a second win to really secure his place in the playoff. Or even though he has secured it, he wants to make sure he's the lead driver going into the last lot of races.
And try and become the first driver to take 2 wins this season as well. Of course, it has been 9 different victors in 9 different races so far. Can we make it 10 for 10 tonight?
Well, the way Jerry Sumter's going, and I'm touching wood and crossing my toes and my fingers. He's definitely the car to beat out there tonight. He's looking very comfortable now. 37 laps into this stint, and that car has really settled down. Looks like he's made a few little adjustments through that last pit stop, and it's really helped him settle that car down.
Yeah, he's almost 40 laps into this stint at the moment, and the pace is absolutely still there. We saw this car just dropping off a little bit compared to the DPR cars in that first run, but right here that thing is looking like a rocket ship still, latterly in this stint, as fast as it was at the beginning of the stint as it was right now towards the end of it. So definitely got it dialed in, and definitely performing how he wants it to, although saying that, Andrew Dyson is just starting to close the gap a tiny bit, but not by much, by less than a couple of thousandths of a second, 9 thousandths of a second there between the two. So they're not far off pace-wise from each other. They are still absolutely hammering it out there and going well. And I wonder if we'll see somebody from this lead pack try and take a slightly earlier stop here, try and take a bit of an undercut, see if they can make that one work here at Texas. We saw some people trying it in the early stages before we had that caution, but it does leave you open if the caution flag flies, of course. But it could pay off if you can take advantage of it. So let's see what people decide to do here and see what strategies start to play out.
A little bit of a gap now starting to come between these top 5 drivers. So all just settled into a nice little rhythm now. So look for a set of pit stops very shortly. We'll have to wait and see who decides to pull the pin first, Carl. I'd say that if Sumter comes into the pit, I reckon that the rest of the guys will follow him in.
Yeah, I'm kind of. It's going to be interesting to see if any of this top group decides to come in for an earlier stop here, and see if they can get a bit of an undercut going. Of course, it does leave you open to latterly in the stage. You know, the sooner you come in, you get those lovely tyres to play with in the early stages, but then as the race goes on, you start to drop off that little bit, and it comes back to those guys that stop a little bit later. Of course, it also leaves you open to vulnerability if we do get a caution. So I think we're probably going to see the leaders stick it out as long as possible, but you might see somebody like Jamie Nankervis or Stevie Dubb pulling it in a little bit earlier, just trying something different here, seeing if they can jump a couple of positions and then defend them as the race goes on, because they are in that position where they can make it home on just 2 more stops from here.
Just checking on Tom Williams. Tom Williams is back out there now, but unfortunately for last week's race winner, he's 6 laps down. So good to see him get back out there and rotating. I know he was very excited and on a great high from last week. He'll go back and he'll post race and he'll pick his own race apart and just come back out next week and really concentrate on getting back up to that pointy end.
Well, it's all valuable experience because he's another driver that, for taking that win, it still just has a little bit to learn on the oval side of things. And, you know, a track like Texas can teach you a lot as you go out there. We've got Van Bullion and Justin Allen into the lane, so they're making their stop. They managed to go 69 laps, Van Bullion. It took it 69 laps into that stint, so absolutely took it to the extremes of the fuel load, you've got to say, and that's crucial information. Of course, a few of those laps were under caution, so they were not all flat out, so that does give you a couple of extra laps here and there just in the fuel stakes of things, but it will be crucial information to everybody out there to what they want to do. And as I say, I imagine that the leaders are going to take it as long as possible right here and just stick it out until they are basically running on fumes.
Well, if Wayne Van Buren, as you said, got 69 laps, but there was a few caution laps in there, so we'll see how long we these guys can get out and get out there. Luke Jager now into pit lane for his stop. He'll take 4 tyres and a full tank of fuel and rejoin the race.
Well, they still need to make 2 more stops in this race, so that's the sort of main thing that they're going to be working with. But it's just whether they want to take it as long as possible, and I think a lot of the drivers will be looking at that option here, just to take it that little bit longer, just to protect themselves, and also give them the best tyres for the end of the race, where, you know, that could be a little bit more crucial. Just having a slightly better tyre life towards the end just gives you a little bit of extra defence if those gaps start to close. So 137 laps remaining here. We are almost to half race distance. And Jeremy Sumpter still in the lead. Managed to get back up into the lead after just getting caught short with his first pit stop, dropping a lap. Managed to get the wave around, managed to get back up there and get himself back into the lead of this race. We've had 3 separate leaders so far tonight. Andrew Dyson, Jeremy Sumpter and Ryan Jones. 6 lead changes in total. So not too many lead changes, but plenty of position changes throughout the field. So there's been lots of different strategies at play, lots of different races run, and lots of racing going on track. But now we're starting to stretch out a little bit. We're starting to see those cars that are very good on the long run coming back to them now, and that's those 2 the 3 DPR cars of Dyson, Jones and Williams. They are starting to get the pace just a little bit quicker, but Sumpter's pace is still absolutely perfect. He's keeping the gap to about half a second to Dyson. So the changes that team has done has been absolutely perfect for him. So they've managed to get that car absolutely dialed in tonight and dialed into some great long run pace, but it was also an absolute rocket in the short run.
And the field's now pretty well spread out, so just in a holding mode at the moment until this next set of pit stops. And we know, Carl, that when we get these pit stops, we do sometimes see a caution.
Absolutely, and look, it is the risk of pitting in green flags. You know, you're very much going in full on attack, and it is easy to make a mistake. We saw that bringing out the first caution of the night, of course, when Lefevre just lost the rear of the car when he dipped it down onto the apron, getting into the lane. It's very easy to have a mistake like that, and very easy for the car to get loose. I'm expecting to see a few people pulling it in the next couple of laps. So not going to be long until we start seeing those green flag stops happening. And look, personally, I would have come in pretty much nowish. I reckon I would have ducked in a little bit sooner, just taking advantage of those fresh tyres out on track, gotten a little bit of an undercut, and seen what could happen. But of course, if I did that, then there would guaranteed be a caution to scupper my plans. So as we continue on, 131 laps remaining, and we are chugging along at a good rate of knots so far. Not too many cautions out on track, and it is this man, Sumpter, up in the lead. He's got the car of Luke Jaeger closing in on him just to get one of the laps back. Jaeger, one of the cars to make a pit stop, and this is the difference between fresh, juicy new tyres and very, very worn tyres at Texas. You'll see that 44 just go absolutely sailing down the inside, and Sumpter not wanting to lose too much time. He sort of positioned himself slightly out of favour there, and that's lost him a little bit of time to Dyson behind, but he didn't lose that much pace. Now he can sit in the draft behind that 44 and get himself a little bit of extra speed and get some of that time back. But you've got to be careful doing that, because you can just go a little bit deep into the corner, which is exactly what he did. And that has just thrown off the speed once more. And Dyson closing in once again on the back of Sumpter. Will we see any of these cars coming in this time? No. Adam Ariel actually pulls it in. So Adam Ariel has decided it's time to pull the car in. So the first of the cars on the lead lap, the first of the cars that sort of made their stops coming in right here. So we are starting to see the pit stops happening. When will we see these leaders pull it into the lane? Well, that's going to be the big question. Not this time round. Dyson closing the gap to Sumpter. These two absolutely nose to tail, and they're coming on put a bit more traffic now. This might be a good opportunity to duck into the lane just to avoid trying to get past some of these cars. valve car getting nicely out the way there, not making the leaders worry too much, so that's easy. So they get through this time round. When will we see them coming down the lane? It's not going to be too long until we see this pit stop happening, and it's all going to be critical to get your car stopped on the marks, get your car down on the apron perfectly, get the brakes on. Not an easy task as well, because you're going to be heading into the lane well over 200 kilometers per hour. You've got to get the car slowed down as well, which is never an easy task. These brakes are notorious for locking up, so very easy to make a mistake entering pit lane, and very easy to find yourself with a penalty, with a black flag, if you do make one of those mistakes, and that can absolutely cost you a race victory.
I would expect Dyson to follow something in the pit lane, Carl, and hopefully put a bit of pressure on him and to make him make a mistake, and see him either get a penalty or really make a balls up of his pit stop. It's not cheating or anything. It's just a bit of race craft, trying to make the driver make a mistake.
Yeah, and if there's one driver you do not want following you into pit lane, it's Andrew Dyson. He is very good at maximising his time in the pit lane and getting through as quick as possible. He's not unbeatable, but he is usually pretty hard to take it away from. So he will absolutely put the pressure on, and of course Sumter will have that little thing of just glancing in his mirror and just knowing that he's got a car behind him. So will we see him coming in this time around, looking like he's getting low, looking like he's slowing down, and Sumter pulling it into the lane? So Sumter locks up the rear a little bit, but he gets it slowed down. That's cost him a couple of milliseconds there. That's cost him a good couple of tenths. So that's not what you want to do, and that's exactly what we were talking about, Mark. You've got to be absolutely on it when you pull it into the lane like that. So easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, definitely. And normally if you make a mistake there, you sometimes make a mistake trying to get into your box, but it looks like he's done well. Right side goes up, left side up. So he's now going to be 4 fresh Goodyears and a full tank of fuel. And we see behind Matthew is in there too. So he's fueled and 4 tyres. So when will Dyson? That's the next big thing. Dyson's now got a 5-second gap over second place Williams. Jones looks like he's in pit lane. Dyson in this time.
So they come in. Stevie Dubb stays out there. He's going to get himself a bonus point right here and get himself a lap led. He's going to be the next car to lead. And we are chugging through the pit stops now. And we'll see who has absolutely nailed this one. You'd say Sumter should come out ahead of Dyson, just about. Coming out on those fresh tyres just gives you that little bit of extra pace. So we'll see how close that is on the exit as Stevie Dubb pulls it into the lane, and we will see how close this one is. He did that little mistake.
And Curvis in this time.
Okay, we've got Dyson leaving the lane now. We might want to jump to this one because he's got Sumter coming around the outside and passing him. So those two are back at it, but Sumter has managed to get time over Dyson. That mistake was not too costly for Sumter. That is good to see. That was very close to being disastrous, but it has paid off. Jeremy Sumter coming out ahead of Dyson and has made a good couple of about 2 seconds over Andrew Dyson. So he has managed to build up a nice little gap here and managed to get some time over him.
Yeah, and that's unusual because Dyson's done his normal super quick pit stop. Lane transition was 39.8 seconds, and he was in the box for 15.1, where Sumter's transition time was a 40.1 and a 15.9 in the box. So Dyson's really knows how to get these cars on and off pit lane.
Yeah, the slightly fresher tyres will have helped a little bit as well, and everything like that. But that was a very good green flag stop. That really paid off nicely. And well, we are back to racing. Luke Yeager getting up into 6th position right now. Of course, he stopped about 23 laps ago, so he's going to be paying. He's going to be sort of on some very old tyres right now, and not enjoying this stint too much. But he can make it on one more stop here with my quick maths. So he should be, he could be in for a decent finish here tonight if things pan out. But we are now going into, well, you almost say like another holding pattern, isn't it? It's now on to the next stage of the race, and we're on to the next stage of pit stops. Really, that's going to be the ultimate factor for us, and that's going to be the thing we're going to be looking at in the race, and that's pretty much the next dramatic moments of the race as well, barring any craziness that happens out on track. And well, you can never rule that out, Mark.
No, definitely not. And we can see now Sumter up into the lap cars with nearly a 4-second gap over Dyson. So he's just putting Norman Clark a lap down. So that's now everyone up to 8th position that has been lapped. Unfortunately for Mark Smith, he's the last car out there running. But unfortunately, I've missed out actually what happened to him. He's ended up 12 laps down. He's now battling with Tom Williams, who's now back in pit lane.
Yeah, I had a little bit of chatter over the radios, just that they were struggling a little bit with the setup of the car, and Mark Smith was very much in the opinion that he was driving American Truck Simulator, not iRacing, because the thing was not turning for him. So it's not been an easy night out there for some of the drivers tonight. Definitely a few people getting caught out by the setups.
Yeah, that's one thing that's different with Aussie Outlaws this year. It's a full open race setup, so you can make your decision on what you want to run and how you want to run the car. The admin here do supply a baseline setup that is a little bit better than the iRacing setups, but everything is up to the driver, and we know that Inside Lane have got their own little crew chief, Kobe Jordan, there, as we can see in the chat, that they've played with the wedge and everything in this car, and that's really helped and moved the car forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's one of those things of, with an open setup, is you may get somebody sharing their setup with you that is the greatest setup in the world, but it might not gel with your driving style. And that's the strange thing about setups. Sometimes one person's awful setup is another person's absolute gem of a setup, and vice versa. It is a really different way of racing, and it is pretty easy to get sort of some people will just go with the setups that they're given and not tweak them at all. And by doing that, you really can cost yourself a little bit of time. Sometimes if you tweak it a little bit to work around your driving style, it can definitely make a big difference and really help you with the pace throughout a race. And it just gels a little bit better as well.
The other main difference this year, Carl, is that all our races here are 100% race distance, as in the real world. So the boys are in the cockpits for a long time. As I said, most of the races are 2.5, 3 hours long, um, and that's a long time to be sitting in a cramped little cockpit.
It's a long time to be sitting in a nice, comfortable chair as well for commentating. Yeah, we have it hard as well, Mark. We have to, we have to take some love as well. It's hard work doing this job, but no, absolutely, look, it is very difficult, and when you're driving as well, like racing like this, you've got your foot glued to the floor of the accelerator pretty much most of the time, but there's little nuanced movements that you have to do, and you tend to get little cramps setting in sometimes, and you just get uncomfortable as the race goes on, and it is very, very much an endurance test for the drivers. The other thing, of course, is most of us like to keep well hydrated, and the issue with that, of course, is unlike a real race car where you can, of course, make your crew chief a little bit less happy. In a sim, you can't really go to the bathroom when you're driving. You have to wait until you finish the race because you don't have the comfort of the car being able to be washed out after the race. The sim chair gets a little bit grotty if you do something like that. So, you have to sit there uncomfortable sometimes for up to an hour, just thinking about needing to go to the bathroom. And if you've ever been caught on a motorway or on the expressways or anything like that without a garage or a service station for miles to come, and you need to go to the bathroom, you know how ragged your driving becomes in that. And that goes the same for when you're driving a sim racing car as well.
Yeah, definitely right. Speaking of upcoming races, next week we're off to Dover. But Carl, we won't be here broadcasting that. We'll be doing a highlights package. We are enjoying some sunshine somewhere, but next week we're off to Dover. But we will definitely have a highlights package up post race next week.
Speak for yourself. I live my life as the best vampire I can, Mark, trying never to see the sun if possible. But yeah, it's going to be a nice little break for us, just a little stretch of the legs, and something where we could just have a little bit of an off week, which is always nice. So we're kind of looking forward to that one. But we do have some more racing coming up on Checkered Flag e-streaming in the week as well, Mark, on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday we see us switch Tim Tops for some circuit racing, our GT3 championship, brought to you by tonight's race sponsor, Everything Simulated. Some great racing there with both Pro and Pro-Am classes, and really we've again over there. We've seen we've had 3 races in 2 rounds, and we've seen 3 different winners for each race so far.
Absolutely, and look, variety is the spice of life, and it's always fun to see. So if you get a chance to watch along, please make sure to join us for that one. Or if you are looking to race as well, come on, head out to Alton Park for some beautiful British weather. I'm going to be feeling right at home, I'm sure. It's back to my part of the world, so that will be fun. So looking forward to heading off for our little sojourn over to the British Isles.
Yeah, back to my part of the world too, but just a little bit too far south, mate. And it's pretty boring with the forecast looking for rain. British rain, not Scottish rain. It's not coming from the side. So you'll feel at home and I'll feel left out.
Absolutely, a beautiful summer's day. Yeah, looking forward to that one. So should be interesting indeed. And
but I was just going to say, but also, Carl, over on Performance e-streaming on Thursday night. So we'll have back-to-back broadcasts. The penultimate round of the ANSCAR trucks, and that's been absolutely fantastic too. So Definitely some great racing coming up this week.
Absolutely, it's not just the penultimate. It's not the penultimate. It's the final round.
It is too.
Off to
Darlington.
Darlington. Yeah, I had Martinsville in my brain, and I was just going, no, that's wrong. I know it's not Martinsville. Yeah, off to Darlington, and it's a bit of it's the throwback round as well. So I expect to see some awesome paint jobs out on those trucks, and of course we'll be crowning the truck champion for 2024 with that race. So looking forward to that. Of course, we also have some racing on Monday night, where we will be heading off to somewhere in the Gen 6. Trying to remember where I'm at now. This is the hard part for me, is remembering dates and remembering tracks. You know, not the easy part of my life. We will just I'll quickly go and look at my calendar if I can get that working.
While you're looking there, Carl, this battle for third place is really heated up. We've Sino, Jones, and Williams now all nose to tail and really having a good hard fight. And Nene Curvis still sitting there in sixth place, all by his lonesome. But we'll keep an eye on this battle here for third place, because that's where it's at. While you find where we are in the Gen 6.
Yeah, the awkward thing is I had to shuffle around my Discord because we're a little bit of behind the scenes information. I watch what's happening on Mark's broadcast, as well as watching the iRacing on my screen as well. But when I'm trying to go through to the other chats and trying to look for things, the view pops up and doesn't let me click on the actual chat servers that I need to. So managed to get it working in the end, and we're off to Phoenix on Monday night for the final round of the Gen 6 for the lightning rounds of the ANSCAR series, and the final race of the Gen 6s as well at Phoenix. So we hope some of you will be able to join us for that. There's been some epic racing in that series, some really good stuff, and the Gen 6 has absolutely delivered, well, looking forward to what's happening after that, of course, as we head into the Legends. The old 87 cars will be coming up after that, so exciting stuff to come. But we still got 93 laps of excitement here tonight at Texas. It is Jeremy Sumpter up in the lead at the moment. He's got almost a 10-second lead over Andrew Dyson at the moment, so absolutely flying forwards and building up that lead. Absolutely lovely.
Yeah, definitely right. And this is, as I said, this is the battle for third place for the final step on the podium. Oh, little tail wag, and he's up into the wall. That allows both those DPR cars to get underneath. So that now gives Jones a run now to try and get out after his teammate and team boss Andrew Dyson. And Williams have got through.
Cisner just really having a big moment there. He was lucky not to get more damage. He was lucky to get that one pulled up in time as well. He just gave the wall the gentlest of kisses, and that could have been nasty indeed, but they all got away with that one relatively well. So just shows just how this place can bite.
Yeah, sorry, I've just come up with an incident for Scott Lethborough. We'll jump here on board on the replay and just actually see what happened with Scott.
Yeah, well, I reckon he's going to have a big lump into the wall because he's pulled it into the lane and pulled it behind the wall as well. Tom Williams as well, another driver that's pulled it behind the wall. But what's happened to Lefebvre here, and back end has gone out, and he's just running up there, gives the wall a big old whack, sails across the grass, and that one is going to be a bit of a handful, and possibly some nasty damage to get repaired on that one as well. So that is night over for Lefebvre there and Tom Williams, unfortunately. So 13 cars still remaining in the race, and we've still got plenty of action to come, and we still got one more round of green flag stops to come as well. So this is going to be the crucial part of this race, and see who can make this final green flag stop work. And of course, will we see another caution flag tonight? If that happens, well, everything is up in the air, and well, I'm sure Jeremy Sumpter will not want to see a caution flag with that beautiful lead that he's got at the moment.
No, definitely not. A great lead of 7.7 seconds over Andrew Dyson in second place. Although saying that, Dyson's mixed up in some traffic. Mark Smith, unfortunately, has had an unfortunate night again, and he's 13 laps down in 13th. Justin Allen there in 12th place, 7 laps down. Not a great night for him, but again, a rookie this season, just out there rotating in that Ford Mustang. Wayne Van Buyen, another one of our Kiwi drivers, running there in 11th, a little bit of a lonesome, and he now goes 2 laps down. Carl Needler now in 10th place, 1 lap down. He's secured himself in the playoffs, so he'll be looking just to keep getting points and moving forward. Luke Jager in 9th, another good result for him, a top 10. He unfortunately again a lap down. Our gentleman sim racer in the 09, Norman Clark. That new paintwork hasn't worked for him tonight, Carl. 1 lap down in 8th position. Nick Bottrell, another one of the Valve cars, a lap down in 7th. And just in front of him is his boss, Jamie Nankervis, in the number 8 car. Dropped off a little bit, was able to stick with those front runners for a little while there. But he'll be this team will go back through the week and really pick this race apart, find out where they've gone wrong, and how they can improve those Camrys for the next round at Dover. Now, first of our American drivers sitting there in 4th, Matthew Sena. We've seen him get loose and get into the outside wall. Then we got 2 of the DPR cars, Stephen Williams and Ryan Jones in 4th and 3rd. And then a nice little gap, 10 seconds up the road, Andrew Dyson. Pretty lonely old race there for him tonight. But we've seen some great battles with these guys tonight. So he'll come back out next week at Dover and look to really come back strong. And of course, Jeremy Sumpter, the race leader at the moment. Well, let's not talk too much about him because I don't want to put any curse on him, and I don't want team owner Kobe Jordan chase me down the road with a big stick.
Just looking at the lap times at the moment, those DPR cars have come alive. Dyson's Williams and Jones are all in the low 30 seconds. They're 30.3s, 30.4s. Jeremy Sumpter 30.5s, 30.6s. So the DPR cars have definitely got the pace in the final stages of the long run, and once again they're coming alive nicely. So they're really, really starting to stretch their legs here and close the gap down. Dyson has closed the gap down from about 10 seconds to 5.9 seconds here. So the gap is starting to shrink up at the front as these DPR cars once again come good at the latter stages of the stint. But is it a little bit too little too late, or will they be able to close it in there? We'll find out. We'll find out as this race continues, as we continue on here tonight. As Dyson gives the wall a big rub on the exit of turn 2. He's absolutely been on the very limits of that wall every time, but that time it just caught him out a little bit and just gave him a little bit of a bite, and unfortunately for him, just gave that car a little bit of a rub and just took away a little bit of speed. We've got Luke Yeager and Carl Needler coming into the pit lane. They're going to probably need to stop one more time coming in this early. So that's not really worked out for them. Carl Needler has shown some really good pace early on in the race, but just getting sort of caught down a lap and things not really playing out for the number 2 here tonight, but still showing some good pace for sure. But hopefully he's going to be hoping to bounce back next week as we head to the short tracks. So 78 laps remaining, Mark, and we're getting to the tail end of tonight's race.
Yeah, it's been a great, and we just see now the fast lap of the race goes now to Jamie Nankervis with a 29.2. So good to see him. He's got some speed. He's still in that car, but unfortunately, he's just out there by himself in no man's land in 6th position. So yeah, let's hope he can stay on the lead lap, and maybe if things go the right way, we may see another caution tonight, and we see these lead cars back up and fighting for the race win.
Well, you're always one caution away from the race coming back to you on ovals, Mark, and it could well happen here tonight. If we see a late caution, we could see Jamie Nankervis coming back into this one, as he is the last car on the lead lap at the moment. So he is in a position that could pay off. Norman Clark is the lucky dog at the moment as well. So if a late caution comes out and they manage to cycle their way back to the front of the pack, they could well find themselves getting back into this race and possibly find themselves up at the front at the laps that matter. Of course, there's only one lap that matters when you're leading a race, and that's the final lap.
Yeah, you're right. And should we get a caution towards the end, don't forget we run three chances at a green-white checker, so that could also come into play.
Yeah, if we get some green-white checkers, that could really scupper some strategies if they come in a little bit too early, and they are a little bit tight on fuel. They might find themselves running out and needing to come into the lane to top up on gas towards the end of the race. So, gap now down to 3.4 seconds between Sumpter and Dyson. The gap is closing between these two, but everybody else is a little bit too far off, really, to sort of challenge without getting without seeing a caution flag. You got to say, top for third position. That's going to be a battle between Jones and Williams. You got to say at the moment. Although Cisner is sitting back there in 5th position, not too far off from them, so he could well find himself back in this battle and find himself back in fighting these two cars for a podium here tonight. And if he does manage to secure that, that's been a very good debut indeed. It's been a very good race run today indeed, and will be a very, very good night for the team.
Yeah, definitely will be. Team owner will be happy with 2 cars in the top 5. Jerry Sumpter had a run in last week, and unfortunately didn't go the way he would have liked. But Matthew Cena first night here tonight, and he's showing some strong speed and a strong car.
Now we're getting into that sort of that realm where pit stops will be happening in the next 5 or so laps. We'll start to see some pit stops starting to happen, and who will be the first to come into the lane out of the the 5 cars, 6 cars on the lead lap. That's going to be a question to be had. Who will stick it out long? Who will stick it out just hoping for a late caution? That could absolutely change their race and change their fortune here tonight in Texas. So we'll have a few different people trying a few different things, I am sure. Plenty of different thoughts, I'm sure, going on throughout the field, and plenty of people thinking about smart strategies that may pay off and may win them a race. But that all gets thrown out the window if we see a late caution.
So really, I've just done some sums. The magic number's 217. So if anyone can hold out to lap 217, they'll definitely make it home with just that last stop.
Yeah, that's it. We have seen some stints make it about 69 laps.
Yeah.
So the technically can make it home from here, but there would be a bit of saving involved, I'm sure, because those long stints were made by having the pace car come out and give them some running under caution, of course. So we are at the stage where you can make it home from here, but I don't think anybody will pull it in just yet. Although you might see somebody just taking a bit of a gamble, coming in for those fresh tyres, trying to get the track position and seeing if they can make that one work to the end of the race. The gap up in the front is now down to 1.9 seconds, so just under 2 seconds between Sumpter and Dyson. Dyson trying to charge him down at the moment. He is absolutely willing on the force at the moment, trying his best to close in on Jeremy Sumpter. He's got the targeting computer down. He's aiming his proton torpedoes, and he's going to see if he can get the attack on and get himself up into the lead of the race, Mark.
Yeah, definitely right. And Sumpter there just slowing just ever so slightly, but just playing it safe, wanting to make sure they can get to that next pit stop. So we'll just have to wait and see. Let's hope we can, as you said, Carl, see a 10th different race winner in 10 rounds.
Would definitely be a fantastic feat of the season. It's very rare that you get 10 separate winners in 10 races, especially at the start of the season. And we've seen some great racing so far this year, and we've seen a lot of victors coming this year as well, and quite a few first-time victors as well, which is always nice to see. Some drivers getting their maiden victory in the series and building up their confidence after getting that victory.
So we just pull up now the speed difference between Jeremy and Dyson, and you can see there Dyson's just a little bit quicker in spots, but they're both topping out at about 290 kilometers an hour.
So close to 300. It's just on that bubble, isn't it? And once you get into the draft, that sort of 300 mark will just be tantalizingly close. So they're really playing it out at the moment and seeing what they can do. And I think it's more so going to be tyres than fuel now. They can all make it home on fuel with this final stop, but it's just who wants to come in and get those fresh tyres, who wants to stay out longer and have fresh tyres for that final run at the end, who can make it work and who can absolutely make it pay off. And if you're sitting down there in fifth position, Matthew Cisner, you got to say you'd definitely be thinking about trying the undercut, just trying to come in a little bit early, seeing if you can actually get that undercut working and seeing if you can get yourself up a couple of spots. And Dyson right over the back, all over Sumpter like a rash at the moment. And I think Sumpter's going to be pulling it into the lane here. He's dropping down low. He's slowing the car down, gets onto the apron, gets it slowed down nicely, locks it up in the final stage. Did he get through that without speeding? It's looking good. It's looking good as he comes in for his final stop here. So, leader in for the final stop of the race, the 022, coming in now and seeing what he can do for this final little stint of the race. Gets it slowed down, gets it stopped perfectly on the marks. That is what you want to see. And now back out onto track after getting all 4 tyres done, after getting the fuel chucked in there. And now it comes back out onto track. So this is where Dyson has to think. Does he want to come in now so he doesn't lose too much time? Does he want to stick it out just in case we get a late caution? Does he want to try and have the better tyres at the end of the race? So this is going to be the question he's going to be asking himself. When does he bring it in? And he's bringing it in now. So he did not want to leave it out there too much longer. As Dyson gets slowed down into the lane, he comes. That's going to promote Stevie Dub up into the lead of the race because Ryan Jones is pulling it into the lane as well. As Matthew Cisner also coming down the lane. And we are finally getting those final pit stops of the night, Mark.
Yeah, definitely the right thing for Jones and to come in with his teammate. I would have thought Williams would have come in too, but it looks like he may be slowing to come in this time by. Oh, a bit of a lock up there.
Gets it in as one of the Valve cars has spun it coming into the lane. Who was that? Which one was that? That was Nick Bottrell spinning in front of Mark Smith and I think contact maybe. Oh, Bottrell making a bit of a mess of that pit entry, and unfortunately Mark Smith getting caught up in that one. We'll see if we can get the replay of that one because he's made a big error. If we can jump on board, I think that's going to be our best position to get an idea of what happens here to Bottrell coming into the lane. So this is the perils of pitting and coming in for a green flag stop. It's very easy to make a mistake, and Nick Bottrell has made a massive error coming into the lane here. Because he's coming in, and he drops it down a gear too early, and that pips the car around. So he dropped it down into first a bit too early, and that's spun the rear on him and sent him careening round. And unfortunately, Mark Smith just getting a bit of a whack with that one. Jamie Curvis taking the lead of the race, and he's got himself a nice little bonus point as well. But he's coming into the lane now too.
And unfortunately for Smith, you can see there as Nankervis rolls through, he's definitely got some damage on that car.
So the pit stops have happened, and importantly, that did not bring out the caution flag, because if that yellow flag had flown, that could have really hampered a lot of people's races. Jeremy Sumter up into the lead now. He is going to be trying to keep this lead from a fast, hard-charging Andrew Dyson. Dyson last time round at 29.6. Sumter at 29.7. So Dyson is in full attack mode now, and he is going to be hunting Sumter. And, well, if Sumter's got the speed underneath him, which he's shown all night, now is the time to take advantage of it and use it.
I'm just wondering though if those 2 laps will come down to making the difference for Dyson and Sumter. Dyson on two lap younger tyres. So here we go. That's on till the end.
Yeah, it's very much on, and they are going to be racing hard. And just looking at the transition times, and Sumter 39.1, Dyson a 38.7. So gained a little bit of time in the pit lane, but Sumter gained a lot of time out on track just by having those fresher tyres to take advantage of in those couple of laps. So that he has built a fairly healthy gap, and he's not losing too much time. But Dyson is definitely closing in, so it is going to be a thing of just glancing in the mirrors, keeping an eye on that gap, and trying to maintain it. If he can maintain that gap, he could be good to the end, but it's never an easy feat to maintain against these quick guys on ovals. They absolutely chew up the asphalt quickly and close that gap. You look in your mirrors 1 minute, and they're a little speck of dust in the distance. You glance again after a lap or two, and all of a sudden you see the front splitter in your mirrors and nothing else. So the race is definitely on for the lead of this one. Who will take it? Got to say, the race is between Sumpter and Dyson at the moment, as we've got 49 laps remaining here for the Everything Simulated Longhorn 400.
As we ride on board with Dyson, we can actually see the gap now closing to Sumpter in front.
Yeah, visibly closing, and it's down to almost half a second now. This gap is really closing in, and it's been interesting sort of listening to these cars. Dyson tends to keep it sort of in fourth gear and keeps a single gear. Sumpter's been changing gears quite a lot, so there's some different styles going on out there. But Dyson at the moment is really, really closing in on Sumpter and looking to make the pass here and try and get his way through up into the lead of this race. Will he be able to do it? Sumpter defending. Dyson gets down the inside right here, and they get into the corner, and Andrew Dyson gets down, gets in front, and gets himself slotted into the lead of this race with 47 laps remaining. It's Andrew Dyson up into the lead ahead of Jeremy Sumpter.
And Nankervis there trying to get his lap back, so he'll definitely be wanting to get past both these drivers at the moment to get back on the lead lap. Sumpter's got a fairly handy gap over Jones, who's 9 seconds down behind the lead two of Dyson and Sumpter.
Now we've seen Sumpter having a good lead and having a good car out in front leading this race, but now he's got to go on the attack on Dyson. Can he make that work? Can he get this one in there, and can he keep himself right up behind Dyson and get himself on the attack? And you can see Nankervis, he's got some of the freshest tyres on track at the moment. So he's got a little bit of an advantage with those tyres, and he desperately wants to try and get past these two just to get himself secured back on the lead lap, just in case the caution flag does fly.
Won't hurt him too much if the caution does come out, because he's in the lucky dog, so he'll get back onto the lead lap. And if that happens and we do go into overtime or anything, that'll give us 6 cars on the lead lap, and it's going to be a ding-dong battle, because we can see Nankervis with a great speed in this car early on in the stint.
Yeah, that Valve car's got some very good pace at the moment, and still has the fastest lap of the race as well, Jamie Nankervis, so definitely has the pace in there. Obviously tweaked the car to his liking latterly in the stage, and the setup working much better at the end of the race than it was in the early stages, so obviously it wasn't working in the absolute scorching heat, but now it's got cooler. That Valve car is absolutely switched on and is working perfectly.
We can see the track temps dropped more than 10 degrees over the race distance over the 2 hours that we've been running now. So these cars are definitely be liking this cooler air and cooler track conditions.
Yeah, race cars like it when it cools down a little bit, especially when the air cools down. It just makes that engine a little bit happier. And when the track is a little bit cooler as well, it's always nice on the tyres. Nobody likes a track that is up in the 40 degrees centigrade mark. It is never a fun place to race, and we saw that in the early stages. The car's looking a lot more settled now as well. The rear's not stepping out nearly as much as it was in the early stages. We saw a lot of people really struggling to keep the car pointing in the right direction at the start of the race, but now definitely a lot more stable than it was at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. And look, we've seen some great racing tonight. 2 cautions for 8 laps. We've had 14 lead changes with 5 different leaders. So some great driving again tonight from these guys here at Texas. I'm going to take a minute, Carl. We haven't really spoken about our other sponsors. Big shout out to Lucas Oils and Pluckers Racecraft. They're actually the naming rights sponsor of the championship this year. So if you need oil for your general car or race car, get in touch with Pluckers Racecraft. And Paul can sort you out for all your general oil needs or your race oil needs. And he also carries a lot of race gear, Penske shocks and Simpson helmets and different things. So make sure you get out and get in touch with him. Also, everything's simulated. The naming of the race tonight. If you're looking for anything to do with simulated gear, he deals in everything. He deals Sim Magic, the whole lot. BJ Pedals, Fanatec. Reach out and see him. Let him know you're part of the league, and he'll definitely look after you in sim stuff. Outlaw Slot Cars. Great place to go visit. They've got 4 or 5 tracks down there in Melbourne. Go see Haley and co. And do some racing in a miniature scale. The old scale electric tracks. Great fun. I know I used to have one when I was a kid, and we see a move here for the race lead, sump the back underneath on the Dyson. So this is really heating up now, Carl. I will come back to our sponsors in just a moment.
Yeah, Sumter's been sat there just watching Dyson's line, and he's now taking advantage of that knowledge, getting down the inside and pressing the advantage. Dyson just giving a little bit of extra room, just gets a little bit of aero wash off there as well. The car just gets a little bit unstable, but he's kept it going. Andrew Dyson, one of those drivers that can keep a car moving sideways as well as going forwards, but he's going to try the up and under. He's going to try the crossover right now on Sumter, see if he can get the inside line, and he's going to do it here. He's managed to get himself inside of Sumter after Sumter's assault there. Can Sumter hang it around the outside, get a better drive off the corner and defend from Andrew Dyson? They're going to be running it right down to the quad oval, and they race hard. Sumter's got a nose ahead at the moment. This is where he's going to struggle a little bit through 1 and 2. Dyson's going to get the advantage back and move himself up to the front. Sumter just holding it against the wall. Beautifully done. Going to have a little bit better drive, and through 3 and 4, this is where the Highline can have a little bit of an advantage. So the race is absolutely on between these two. They are racing each other hard. Can Sumter manage to get just ahead of Dyson and slot himself down? He's just tantalisingly close. His spotter would be letting him know that there's a car on the inside. He just needs that overcut. He just needs to be a couple of millimetres ahead of Dyson so he can slide it down in front of him and get himself locked in ahead. Dyson not letting it happen, though, as they race side by side. This is fantastic action, Mark.
Definitely is, and still with 30 plus laps to go. Couldn't ask for a better finish. We've always said you just need to buy that ticket to the last 30 laps, and that's what they've done. As we're coming around now to complete the lap 236 of 267. So this is going to be great. This if these guys keep battling like this is going to allow Jones and Williams to close back up.
Dyson's car's just getting a little bit tail happy right now as he's been held down on that low line and just not been able to run as wider exit as he likes, and it looks like he's just getting a little bit of heat building up there as they just get through the corner. Watch that 41 on the exit, the back end's just stepping out a little bit, and that's costing him momentum, and that is what Sumpter needs. Just needs Dyson just to lose a little bit more, and he's done it this time. Sumpter gets loose though himself. Sumpter gets really tail happy on the exit of 4. You don't often survive that one. He managed to hold the car, and he's still side by side with Dyson at the moment. These two are racing each other extremely hard, and both of these guys are struggling now with the rear tyre temperature, I'd say, because the rear of these cars is just getting a little bit tail happy. They are starting to struggle, but they are racing each other as hard as you like it, side by side here at Texas for the final 29 laps of this, the Everything Simulated Longhorn 400. Yeah, Rubbin is racing. As Sumpter once again slots it down in front of Dyson, gets himself positioned. Dyson's going to give him a little love tap on the exit, just try and unsettle the car. He's not trying to wreck him, he is just trying to get him a little bit unsettled, just so he can get himself underneath. These two are absolutely going for it, and they're still keeping decent pace, you've got to say. They're a couple of tenths slower than Jonesy behind, but they are holding about a 9-second gap at the moment, so they're not losing too much as Dyson manages to slide it up to the high line. He takes over Sumpton's position. Sumpton tries to get down the inside but can't quite make it work. And we might just see a little respite here as they relax a little bit, try and let their tyres come back to temperature, and then go for a final assault with the final couple of laps of this race.
Yeah, definitely some great racing there by these two. Some great close door-to-door action, and using all the little tricks that the NASCAR guys do. A little bit of bump and run, a little bit of rubbing, and I think you're 100% right, Carl. Sumpter's just eased off a little bit, probably trying to let those tyres cool down a little bit, because that was a 10 lap sprint and a real battle.
Yeah, that was some fantastic racing there, and we saw them getting a little bit heated up, getting a little bit aggressive with each other, but it was nowhere to the level of too much. They were being very polite with each other, although they were also being a little bit cheeky with a couple of little touches here and there, but now they're just having to settle down a little bit again. And will we see another attack? Was that Sumpter's only chance? Does he have anything left in the tank? Can he get the car back to operating in temperatures and get back on the attack with Dyson here in the final couple of laps? Well, you've got to say it's looking good at the moment. He's keeping the pace and he's keeping himself right under the rear spoiler of Dyson, so he is very much there. And if Dyson has a couple of little mistakes, which he almost had there coming through turn number 2, as the back end just started stepping out on him a little bit, he will be all over him again like a rash.
We'll just see him stepping the outsidewards there. Those tyres really are taking a beating. Those two extra laps on those tyres have probably hurt that car a little bit, Carl.
Yeah, we saw that big step out for Sumpter as well, and Nankervis just giving the wall a little love tap, and Sumpter again gives the wall a much harder love tap this time round. He is starting to struggle, and I think that was that for the assault. I don't think he can really get the tyres back to the range and back down to temperature and back to the life that they had where he can get on the assault again. He's just got to try and force Dyson into a mistake, and well, that's not an easy task. It's not impossible, but it is never easy to force a driver of Dyson's caliber into a mistake. just has to recompose himself here and then get back on the attack if he can. So we'll keep an eye on that one. We've got some other racing going on throughout the field. Luke Yeager's just got past Nick Bottrell. So we have Luke Yeager moving up into 8th position. His strategy's slightly paying off now, and he's got some nice fresh tyres to take advantage of in the race with that one. So there are a few different races going on still throughout the pack, lots of different positions to be gained. Jamie Nankervis still sticking to the back of these two cars, trying to keep himself in that lucky dog position if we happen to have a caution flag fly. So with 17 laps remaining, it's Andrew Dyson up in the lead ahead of Jeremy Sumpter and Ryan Jones. That's our top 3 at the moment. Stevie Dubbs dropped off a little bit in 4th position. Matthew Cisner is down in 5th spot with Jamie Nankervis in 6th. Norman Clark in 7th. Luke Yeager up into 8th position. Nick Bottrell in 9th. And Wayne Van Billion rounding out the top 10 at the moment, as we head into the final handful of laps here at Texas on what has been a very entertaining everything simulated Lone Horn 400. This is always the stage of the race as well, Mark, where you've got to be a little bit careful, because it is easy to just find yourself in a bit of a zen state where you're just not really paying as much attention as you think you are, and you can get caught out in these last couple of laps. We often see it with drivers just having that little bit of fatigue setting in, a little bit of mental fatigue clicking over, and they just try and push a lap or just try and keep the pace that they have all race, and then find themselves coming unstuck.
Yeah, 100% right, Carl. We're coming up to 2.5 hours in the car now. So guys will be starting to think, geez, is this almost done? When can I get out? I need to go to the bathroom, or I need to grab a drink. And we've seen drivers reach for a drink and make a mistake and see themselves into the wall. But also lap cars too. Nothing against the guys that are laps down. We also see them get a bit nervy when the race leaders are coming up to them, and they can also make a mistake and play a part in the outcome of the race, not intentionally, just by lack of concentration. But again, these guys have all done so fantastic well. Unfortunately for those guys that have had to pull out tonight, we've just a little damage here and there, and we've still been treated to a great race right throughout tonight's race here at Texas.
Absolutely, some great racing out here tonight, and very entertaining few final laps between Dyson and Sumpter, although unfortunately Sumpter has used the best of those tyres, and he did the best he could to take the fight to the 41, but it looks like that fight is now very much over, and he can't really get back up there and can't resurrect those tyres to get themselves back into this fight. But a fantastic job racing here tonight. Absolutely has made his name known to everybody in the league and on the Aussie side of the oval racing scene.
Yeah, look, hats go off to both, or to our 3 Americans that have raced with us tonight. Derek Jacobs, unfortunately, out early. Matthew Cessna, and Jeremy Sumpter. You know, it is stupid o'clock over there in America. I believe they're in the central time zone, so It's very early. It's something like 2:30 in the morning for them. So hats off to them, and we give thanks for them to come out and joining the in and racing with us.
Absolutely, a big shout out to all the drivers out here, and it's always a big thing. And over in New Zealand as well, it's not quite as late as in America, of course, but it is ticking on over there as well. And it's always a late night when they finish up around midnight for the racing, and it can be a long old day sometimes. And it's always great to see so many drivers of different nationalities out here racing, and everybody racing so well with each other as well. We've not really seen, we've only seen one sort of accident-worthy caution, and that was between Cisner and Ryan Jones, and even that was a little bit of a. It wasn't malicious at all. It was one of those moments we saw Cisner just giving the apron a tiny little nibble, but it looked very much more netcode related than an actual proper contact. So really great racing out here tonight, and very much some great driving that we've seen on display.
Yeah, definitely, definitely some great racing. Again, the Australian scene of the oval side of things have been great. Racing in every league that's run here in Australia and New Zealand. So definitely hats off to these guys. 7 laps to go now. Unless we see a caution, I think this is Dyson's race, and we'll see our first repeat winner in 10 rounds.
You're trying to get the old curse of the commentator working there, Mark, I see.
Be quiet.
No, absolutely. It's been a very strong race, and it's not been all Dyson's way tonight. It has been one of those races where he's had to absolutely battle for it, and it still could go a little bit awry. He's having a couple of little moments where the back end is not sticking with him as much as he wants, and that is always disconcerting when you're driving. But that fight he had with Sumter definitely took the best of the tyre life out of those cars. It's been a very good run for these front two. Ryan Jones as well, great recovery drive from him as well, and obviously the damage has not really been too affecting the car, but he has driven that one well. And
as we say that, he gets really loose and touches the wall again.
As the curse of the commentator goes. Stevie Dub having a good solid run as well in the 98, and look, a Stevie Dub performance there, absolutely. Barely noticed him all night long, but absolutely inside the top 5, driving well. And Matthew Cisner as well, fantastic job in 5th place. A very strong showing as well here at Texas, and good to see some fresh faces up inside the top 10 here tonight. Not disparaging anyone, and Luke Yeager, Nick Bottrell, Wayne Van Billion, all inside the top 10 here tonight. They've had a really solid race. They've managed to keep the car in contention all night long. Justin Allen, he's not been the fastest car out there. He's just 11 laps down, but importantly, he's still circulating. He's getting that experience under his belt. But up the front, it is Andrew Dyson coming round to the final handful of laps. And, well, it's been a very decent race for him as well, you got to say.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a hard fought. He definitely hasn't had it all his own way tonight. And same with Jones. Jones and Williams took it to Dyson too. Sumter's been there. So it's been great racing as we come across now with the final lap. So we'll stick with Dyson on this final lap, and we'll watch him bring it home for the race win here tonight. Great to see him back out on track and really have a great race tonight.
Absolutely. As he comes round the final couple of corners, just a few meters left in this race, and Andrew Dyson's going to take victory here tonight for the Everything Simulated Longhorn 400. And it is Dyson and DPR taking victory here tonight, ahead of Jeremy Sumpter. A fantastic performance here tonight, with Ryan Jones coming home in third. Stevie Dubb will bring it home in fourth, with Matthew Cisner coming home in fifth position. Jamie Nankervis comes home in sixth spot, with Norman Clark in 7th, 8th position for Luke Yeager. Nick Bottrell comes home in 9th, and Wayne Van Billion rounds out our top 10 for tonight.
Great racing, as we said, Carl. It's been fantastic racing as we are now look for the standard burnout and engine blow.
Anyone would think Dyson's had practice doing donuts.
We'll have to ask him next race when that we make sure he gets a picture drawn in licorice tricks.
He's done that before. It didn't work well for the broadcast. No, great victory here tonight. Let's run through the finishing order for the race. As we said, Andrew Dyson taking the victory ahead of Jeremy Sumpter, Ryan Jones, Stevie Dubb, Matthew Cisner in 5th position, and Jamie Nankervis comes in 6th, Norman Clark 7th, 8th for Luke Yeager, Nick Bottrell in 9th, and Wayne Van Billion comes home in 10th position. As we roll over the pages, Justin Allen comes home in 11th spot, Mark Smith in 12th, Carl Needler in 13th position, Scott Lefevre down in 14th, Tom Williams in 15th position, Adam Ariel 16th, 17th for Derek Jacobs, Peter Gretton in 18th position, out early unfortunately with contact to the wall, and Phil Butler out in 19th position due to some technical issues with the internet.
Yep, as we just wait for the drivers to come up into the booth, we'll have a look at what's coming up in our race season. So, as you can see, we're off to Dover next time round on the 17th of May, 11th of May, I should say. 400 laps, and as we said, we won't be here on air, but we will definitely have a highlights package for that race. So it'd be good to see what happens there. So we've got just let me go back here. We've definitely got a third place getter up there at the moment.
Us get started on some interviews, some post-race interviews, and we'll start off with our third place finisher for DPR, and we've actually got him up in the books this time. It's Ryan Jones. Ryan, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on third place here tonight at Texas.
Yeah, a bit of a shame. Had to spend 90% of the race fighting back, but it is what it is.
Big question, how bad was the damage?
I think I got it all fixed. It was only like 30 seconds, but just having to come back through the field on that restart burnt the tyres up a little bit in having to do so, which meant I got punished to end that long run, which was time I was never able to really get back.
A shame that one. We saw the incident, and it was one of those weird little iRacing-y moments, as well as just a little bit of contact. And unfortunate for it to happen, because you had some really good pace out there tonight, and we saw you battling with your teammates and battling it all the way up to the front as well. One of the only cars that could really take it to Sumpter tonight.
Yeah, I think the accident was going to happen with or without any of that net. Cody was trying to burn the tyres off as quickly as he could, so that's why he was going through. And yeah, I think he hit the apron, which shot him up the racetrack. I actually just finished the job before he could, which is one of those things. Yeah, we had great long run pace the last two runs. Was 15 seconds behind Jeremy at one point, ended up finishing 6 seconds back at the end of the race. So yeah, it would have been nice to not have to come back through, but it's what it is.
Right, absolutely. Look, a solid run here tonight, and well, finishing off the week almost with another great result. It was good to see you on Thursday night as well. Unfortunately, we missed you in the interview.
Yeah, my computer died, which is nice. Always love that. At least it happened after the race.
I had to say that is very kind of it to wait until you finish the race. Usually that would happen on the last lap.
I thought it was just that you didn't want to talk to me.
Well, you know. No.
We're going to have to do some forensics on that computer, see if there's any water being tipped on it or something like that. Look, a great result tonight, Ryan. Well done indeed. We will let you head off. Just personal shout-outs for you. We'll make Dyson do all the hard work.
Yeah, big shout-out, Stevie. We had a good old race back and forth a few times. You guys put on the broadcast, and Mum as well watching on, I think. Just hopefully we get a few more people next few weeks. It's always more fun with 20 plus.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed we'll see some more cars out on track for some more action. Thank you so much, Ryan. Have a great night, and I'm sure we'll speak to you again in the near future.
Yeah, cheers, boys.
Ryan Jones there for DPR, coming home in third position here tonight. Next up, we will be grabbing our second place finisher, Jeremy Sumter.
Hi.
Welcome to the booth.
You there, Jeremy?
What's up? Not used to this, so.
Well, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on a strong night here tonight at Texas.
Thank you. Frustrating, but thanks.
It was a decent run out there. You had some really good pace.
I did. I had early pace. The gearing changes that iRacing's implemented has really, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I was hitting a wall after about 30 laps. I was bogging down really bad coming out of 2. I don't know. Y'all could tell sometimes I was trying to hit third just because I was so low in RPMs. But even now, it's just too low. It was quite frustrating.
I did notice there was quite a lot of gear changes going on from your car tonight, and that was obviously that explains why that was happening.
Yeah, I put in not as much practice as I should have, and should have done a full run, see how it felt, which I didn't do. But I know better for next time.
Absolutely. Look, well, that is always useful, and look, fingers crossed next time it will be a couple of spots extra higher up and taking home a victory as well.
Yeah. What is the next track, if you don't mind me asking?
Dover.
Nice. Well, I'm excited. I'm actually happy to be here with you guys in this league. Both races were good fun, so.
Well, we are always happy to hear that. And look, hopefully you'll get to enjoy watching it back as well. We've enjoyed watching that one. Congratulations on tonight. And, well, the fun part now is the shout-out to the team, to sponsors and people in general. Go for it, mate. You've absolutely earned it tonight.
Man, I had a list. Like I said, I'm not used to this. Team Watson, of course. My builder, Kenny Coppola. Inside Lane, Kobe Jordan. If I missed somebody, I apologize. And to you guys for putting it on. Thank you.
You are most welcome. Look, congratulations tonight. And look, hopefully we'll see you back in the booth in the very near future when we come back for the next broadcast.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
That much. All righty. And finally for tonight, we will be grabbing up our second place finish. Our first place finisher. There we go. Brain is working fine. We'll be taking up our winner of tonight's race for DPR is Mr. Andrew Dyson. Dyson, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on a hard-fought victory here at Texas.
Hey, Wallace. Yeah, thanks. Good race tonight. Definitely a fun one. So we can get around that.
Absolutely. great racing at the end. You had to really work for that one. There was a good handful of laps where you were absolutely side by side, giving each other just the lightest of little taps between each other. But eventually, you managed to get the run off the corner and get yourself up front.
Yeah. Was it more than 10 laps? Because it felt a lot longer than a handful, I can tell you. It felt like it went on forever, but it was good.
To us, it felt like an eternity, but it was great racing.
Yeah, to you it felt like an eternity, huh? But no, it was good. I mean, I've raced Jeremy. Well, I recognise him either from other leagues or from official races, and he's not normally a sort of dude who, you know, you can definitely trust him. So it was made for good races while we could race so close, and particularly being on the other side of the world, it's pretty amazing that you can do that sort of stuff. So yeah, good stuff.
It's nice when it works, isn't it? It really makes it fun. And tonight it worked for you up in front, and we just saw some great racing up there. I mean, the car looks pretty damn good in the long run pace. It just looked like you were struggling a little bit in the early stages of the day, especially in that heat.
I don't know, man. I mean, if you got, I mean, anyone can have fast short run pace if you want to have fast short run pace, right? But it doesn't normally work the other way. If you're gonna have long run pace, you generally can't have short run. So, yeah, it's all just up to the operator really. But no, I just had to save it. I decided to play long run. That's always how I race. So I went with it that way, and probably didn't quite work out in a couple of those long runs there, but we sort of made it work at the end. So with the clean air more than anything. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked a little bit of a handful when you were sitting right behind another car out there tonight, and the rear looked a little bit loose a couple of times as well.
Yeah, it didn't really matter if you were sort of in front or really, really close behind, or sorry, if you were really, really close behind another car, or if you were in front but another car behind you was really, really close. Like you'd sort of get loose, you'd get some aero disturbance. Particularly like I noticed whenever I was side by side with someone and with Jeremy for a long time there, the car would begin to behave pretty weird depending on where the car on the outside of me was, or even when he was on the inside where he was. So, yeah, probably why it looked a little like a bit of a handful, but it's the things you got to deal with when you're side by side with other cars and you're at a pretty high speed.
Well, you absolutely made it work tonight, mate. Congratulations on victory here at Texas. The first driver to get 2 wins this season.
Hey, that's pretty cool. When was the last one? I can't remember. Was that Phoenix or something?
Yeah, it was Phoenix.
Oh, cool. Get around it.
Yeah, so you've finally broken the single win curse of everybody. So now the floodgates are going to open up. Congratulations tonight, Dice. So before I let you go, though, the shout out to the people, the sponsors, your adoring fans, the public. Go for it, mate.
Yes, all the adoring fans. Which is pretty much DPR Racing boys, all 5 of them. No, there's actually about 20 of us nowadays, but there's a few of them. So get around those boys, and thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast and everyone who comes out for a race. Really appreciate that.
No, all good, mate. Congratulations, and look, have a good one. And I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in the very near future. And again, well done for tonight.
Thanks, boys.
Andrew Dyson there for DPR taking the victory here tonight in Texas, Mark. And, well, we are done and dusted.
Yep, that's all done and dusted for tonight. As I said, we're back in 2 weeks' time. So race highlights for next week at Dover. And we'll be back live on the 18th of this month at Kansas. So another good little challenging track there at Kansas, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. A track that I am very fond of indeed. So we'll be absolutely cursing you as I'm stuck up here in the commentary booth. But we look forward to bringing you all that action as it comes. And hopefully we'll see some of you on Wednesday night as well. And of course, with the GT Freeze. So we are done, and a big thank you, of course, to all of the viewers out there tonight and all of the drivers for joining us. We will see you again very shortly. From myself, Carl Wilkinson with you, and of course, Mr. Mark Johansson here at Checkered Flag eStreaming will wish you a very good night.